have to be aware, have to be driven by values, and have to perform ethically. And I think that's important. No question at all. We need confident, informed, intelligent people to work as journalists. And the other idea has been that what we also need is we need self-regulation, national structures to be able to sort of police and to monitor journalism and to make media accountable. What I've often found is that what is missing in that process is to focus on the question of ownership, on the question of the proprietors, on the question of the media institutions themselves. And actually, very often when we're talking about how we deal with self-regulation and so on, we tend to sort of steer away from confronting the most difficult problem at all that faces us. And that is, how do we engage media organizations, many of them facing enormous problems economically, politically, structurally? How do we confront them at a time when they're reducing investment in journalism and the quality of journalism, spending less on investigative journalism, less on research, less on training? How do we engage with them to get them to take their primary responsibility, which is to provide a moral leadership in the areas where journalism is practiced, so that there can be the notion of a credible national self-regulator and journalists who are confident enough as individuals to be able to do their work well. And I think, therefore, the question of internal self-regulation, the responsibility of creating rules for good governance inside media, transparency in ownership of media, making media themselves accountable by creating what I would call confidence-building measures which will encourage them to be transparent and open, and also to confront the reality of conflicts of interest. The conflicts of interest which exist in the media organisations regarding, for instance, the unhealthy relationships between media owners and very often political groups, or the unhealthy relationship between media and corporate interests. And we've seen this most vividly, and I'm sure it's been discussed here in Great Britain, when the News International case, where we saw a massive problem, which revealed one thing that I believe absolutely fervently, is that when we're talking about media and journalism and standards and quality, it's like a pyramid. It's not enough to focus on the delivery at the bottom of the pyramid of good quality. You have to have standards and values at the top of the media pyramid. And the News International case is absolutely proof positive that if you have corruption at the top of the media, it is impossible to deliver the quality of journalism that's required by a democracy at the bottom of the media pyramid. So that the culture internally is what we have to address here. And it's no use saying that at News International, well, that was different because it was criminality. What was going on was criminal malpractice. That criminal malpractice only arose because of the atmosphere and culture of collusion with power that had already been created within the organisation. When Rupert Murdoch was able, through his personal contacts, to decide which political party in Britain he would anoint to be potentially the next governing party in Britain, this was enormous power, and that power corrupted the process of ownership. And that's why it's very, very clear, and we ought to thank Rupert Murdoch for this, because his actions at News International have opened up a very important area of debate which has been closed for so long. We need to focus on how we improve the question of internal governance, good rules, and good practice inside media houses. If we begin to do that, we will achieve the two things that we really want to have. One is a national self-regulator, such as you have in Bosnia, which is credible and which is respected, because the media organisations are participating in it. And secondly, you have journalists able to work according to standards and able to believe that when they make decisions about who they talk to, how they work, and what they do, they will be supported by a management that believes in their values. So this question of the management is not just one of the players. In my view, it's the critical element that needs to be added into any programme that's going to create a credible system of self-regulation. That's that's how I see it now, and certainly that's how I see it in the future when we have this completely transformed media landscape. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.